Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Natural Net, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I am Lisa Fernandes, and
I am Chris Jayawardena. Hello.
And we're here to review the Season 3 episode, Laverne and Shirley Meet Fabian. Directed by Rafkin and written by Paula A. Roth, and I bet you got some facts about them, don't you, Chris?
I do. In the case of Paula A. Roth, this was not her first rodeo dodo as credited writer. With this episode, we do get to see a lot more work of hers through the series. She was a story editor on much of Season 2, and by this time, Paula Roth's writing muscles were aching for air, so therefore she took this episode and continued on. She does a few more episodes for Season 3 and continues as a story editor and executive story consultant through 1979, roughly, I think, around mid-Season 5, I think.
Yes.
She also continued on to the Love Boat and Happy Days episode and was a producer on Good Time Girls in 1980. So, well, we'll see her again. We'll get back to that. As for Alan, it's Alan Rafkin. He's done every episode so far. He's going to continue doing those episodes. What can I say? Look, the guy was still directing into his 70s. His last credit before he died was for a Veronica's Closet episode from 2000. The year 2000.
Wow.
Anyway, that's all I got.
I was going to mention, Michael did an episode of Good Time Girls. It's one of his very first non-Lenny roles on television.
Huh.
Was in Good Time Girls. And that was right in the middle of Laverne and Shirley's run. It's right around Season 5. So, and that show is about a bunch of girls in World War II living in a boarding house. So it'd be interesting to see how they manage to reconcile his longish hair with him having been a soldier, because apparently he plays a soldier that's been injured. So I have not seen that episode. I want to see that episode. If anybody has a copy, please give us a knock upon our door. We will be waiting for you.
Disclaimer, we don't actually have a shared door.
Yeah. Someday. Anyway. And this is what the episode is about. During a freezing cold Milwaukee morning, Shirley nearly dies while waiting in line for Fabian tickets, only to have them sell out before she can reach the box office. The boys rescue her body, but not her broken heart, and Laverne tries to do everything within her power to make her best friend feel better. Unfortunately, their usual go-to helpers, Frank and Carmine, have no leads with them. The former producing front row tickets to a Jerry Vale show, the latter having no leads at all. Cue Rosie Greenbaum, who has tickets of her own and lords it over poor, vulnerable Shirley. Overhearing their longtime rivals bragging, Laverne promptly lies that Carmine has connected them with a pair of front row seats, as well as a pre-show dinner with Fabian. Rosie refuses to believe Laverne, which angers a steadfast Shirley. The two women immediately agree to a bet. Shirley must produce photographic proof that the girls have kissed Fabian on the cheek, with the bet's loser having to scrub the winner's floor with a toothbrush. It immediately comes out that Laverne lied, so Shirley comes up with a death-defying scheme which forces the girls to pose as French maids and hang from the ledge of a fancy hotel's window in the hope of meeting their idol. Will they get to meet Fabian and win the bet with Rosie? So what do you think of this episode?
Man, that's a lot of comedy. That's a lot of comedy in this episode. There's a lot of funny things. There's a lot of great character stuff. There's a lot of good physical stuff. There's a lot of good zingers. There's a lot of good dialogue. And oh my gosh, we get Rosie Greenbaum. This is a good episode.
Yes. Yeah. I love every little bit of this episode. To be honest, I can't think of anything critical to say about it. I love how every single character is used to further the plot. It's perfect in this episode. You start out with absolute comedy gold of Laverne trying to stay warm as she waits for the heat to come up in the apartment, and she's all bundled up, and she's trying not to burn herself, and she burns her tongue. Mm-hmm. And the heat finally starts to come up and rattle the pipes, and then she starts to do a striptease to the sound of the air coming up.
I love that. And I think you and I have mentioned about... I think we brought this into the show. There's almost a mild exhibitionist streak in Laverne, and that definitely...
Yes. That's not mild, trust me. It's not mild, trust me. It gets more pronounced as time goes on.
Oh, dear. I also love, and I love the deal you can see. She's making a peanut butter sandwich, because I know that's one thing I do often if I'm really cold, is I'll sometimes try to eat to it's like, okay, just get some fat on me to just get a little something. Yeah, and then I love how she and how she licks the glove, and it's like, oh no,
Yeah.
the texture. It's
Yeah.
horrible. Yeah, it's just there's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
whole scene has so many details, and then it gets even better as when Edna comes in. And then talks. Was it the whole discussion about Fabian and the Shirley getting the tickets? And it's like, oh, you guys are really gaga for him. It's like, well, Shirley's gaga. I'm just ga.
Yeah, it's a great line. I love that Edna's favorite was Cary Grant. And Cary Grant was still alive at the time, still handsome at the time, so she's like, how come I got older and he got cuter?
Yes. God.
So relatable.
I adore that. Yeah, and I love Cary Grant. Grant was an amazing actor. And man, he really did have an amazing, 35-year career, basically, or a little longer than that, practically.
Yeah. Yeah, he was doing stage work all the way through the 70s when he passed away.
God.
In fact, he did something on the stage, if I remember correctly, and then passed away while waiting to go on.
Man.
If I remember correctly, I'll have to check Wikipedia eventually, but yes, I'm pretty sure that happened that way. That's how he died. I love the detail that Edna is supposed to meet Uncle Fungi, who is apparently a misogynist, who throws food at women, and Frank used to.
I love that line. Oh, God, I broke your father of that habit. I'll break Uncle Fungi, too.
Yeah. We never hear how it works out. We hear from her and Frank that it's going to happen. We never hear how it works out.
Jeez.
Which I would love to know.
Seriously.
I just love all the little details of the girls fangirling. My mom was a huge fangirl, did a lot of stuff for bands. She was the head of the Beatles fan club in the Rhode Island area when she was younger. She did a ton of fan clubs. She was hugely into Gene Pitney and hugely into, I think, Bobby Hyland. But she was so into Gene Pitney that she actually had a nickname from him. He called her Cricket.
Aww.
Which is sweet,
wow.
Yeah. My mom did a ton of fan club work. So I can relate to the girls' feelings here. I can relate to their shrieking, to their wailing, to their excitement, to their desire to be close to this dude and listen to him sing. So, this is one of those episodes that kind of connects me back to my mom who got me into the show in the first place.
Aw. Yeah, I definitely have. I've known you long enough. I have seen your in text form at least. I have seen your fangirling, and it's
yes.
It is quite epic and well practiced, I might add. Well practiced.
Well, Becky, shout out to Becky, will say that I actually do squee in real life because we were sitting here on my couch watching a Burn Notice episode. And when Bruce came on, I squeed. Bruce Campbell came on, I squeed.
Oh, that's adorable.
How you squeed in real life. It's cute. Yeah, cause she came down to visit me at one point for a whole week, and that's one of the things we did. But yeah, that's part of my fangirling, part of the things that I've done and will do, and probably do until I die. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, it's and I, as much as, and I was thinking about this before, recording this episode, is like, as much as I try to be stoic and cool, I mean, on the inside, I've been starstruck so many times. I remember when I was a kid, I was a big fan of ILM and special effects through Star Wars, because I watched a lot of the behind the scenes of Star Wars, and that was what got me to want to make movies when I was 6-7 years old. And I got to see Dennis Muren give a talk at the Portland Creative Conference in 1997. And there was a point my dad had to go to a payphone to make a phone call to work because he had a beeper, so he got beeped. He got a page that something was up, and so he had to go make a phone call. So I'm going with him to the phone booth, and I pass by this little seating area of the lobby of the, oh God, I can't remember what building this is. It's the one that's across from the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall, I think, or the Keller Auditorium. It's around there in Portland. And I'm walking by, and there's just Dennis Muren having coffee, and I realized in hindsight, I think he was having coffee and a bagel with Will Vinton, and I met Will Vinton a couple times. Him and my mom got along really well. And so I had that moment, though, of my body was like buzzing, like, oh my God, that's Dennis Muren. Oh my God, that's Dennis Muren. And, so it's a case of, my fanboying, my fan, explosions are kind of different. Like, I know that if the lockdown and the pandemic hadn't blown up, I would have, if I had the opportunity to meet John Woo last in April of 2020, which I had tickets for,
Yeah.
that I probably would have cried, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is one of my
Gosh.
absolute heroes, which I know is a terrifying thought. Never meet your heroes, but it's still like I get it. I find it, the physical explosion of it in this way is always a little
Yeah.
a little amusing to me. But I do love how it's very cute and very exaggerated, but it's never,
Yeah.
it never shames them for it. It's a
Yeah.
And I love how he never shames them for it either, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of tweaks them for like being that extreme, but the girls are always that extreme. Their emotions are always that operatic.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing new about it. There's nothing shocking about it. There's nothing ha 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 ha. Look at them being ridiculous about it. It's just a part of who they are. So it's not shocking that Laverne literally throws herself at him, that Shirley ends up fainting. All that stuff is absolutely not shocking. My two biggest meetings when it came to like really fangirling out. I met Ric Flair when I was like 14, and he was lovely. A lovely gentleman. It was a very nice experience. And I got to speak with him, and I was like, wow, I'm sitting with Ric Flair. Wow. It's kind of like that, geez, I don't believe this is happening moment. That was one of my big ones. My other big one was, believe it or not, I met Fabio.
Huh.
Which was an experience. This is before we all knew about his politics and,
Yeah.
the goose smashing into his nose. I was like 14, so...
Yeah.
About 14 or 13, around there, so...
Yeah.
There's actually footage of me having a actual physical reaction to him walking by, going,
Oh.
Well, I was a tiny bit. That was on the news.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
actually on the news. And I was like 13, and like, yeah. When you're a little teenager, that is a moment.
Definitely.
My mother reacted to this opportunity by taking his calendar, flipping it to her month, which happened to be a picture of him standing there with a towel over himself and nothing else, and strolling up to him and making him autograph it.
Nice. Oh, wow.
That was how my mom did that. And he looks at me and he goes, oh my. And she goes, well, you post for it. And that was my mom.
There you
That
go.
was my mom.
God, your mom was a badass.
Yes, she was.
Oh my gosh, an eternal badass. That's awesome.
Yeah. And now everybody knows why I am the way I am.
Oh man.
She made him sign it, and it was great.
Oh god. Yeah.
Still remember that. Is oh my.
Oh my.
Yes.
I think my only like pinch me I'm dreamy moment I can remember recent memory was about, I think it was like in 2008 when Cinematic Titanic was still touring, and I got to tell Frank Conniff that I was the one guy in the audience that laughed at his vanishing point joke, because no one found that funny there, and I was like I got that, and then he's like, oh, you're the guy.
Oh yeah, I interviewed Joel Hodgson. I should have mentioned that. Yes, yeah. Joel. I interviewed Joel, and I was dying the entire time. And he was so nice to me and so patient. I didn't get one of his jokes, and I was so sad that I didn't get one of his jokes because I was so.
Oh, that's
I didn't
right.
Pick up on the humor.
I remember you messaging me saying you were like more. It's like, I didn't get one of his jokes. I'm so mortified right now.
Yes. He was just one of the nicest guys ever, and he was so sweet. He was so appreciative. And he didn't need to give me his time, but he gave me his time, and that interview actually worked as a springboard for me. So I'll always be grateful to him. But that was one of my moments. That just reminds me, even the cast has had that kind of like fan person moment. When Michael was rehearsing for A Mighty Wind, he and Christopher Guest and Harry Shearer, they were all recording in a studio, and Paul McCartney walked in. And he was in shock and could not get words out, which, according to him, is a very much a rarity. So Paul McCartney was listening to him, and he complimented them, and he asked them to play something for him, and they played "Start Me Up" by the Rolling Stones, which is a part of the movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he said, I don't know why we're standing there playing a Rolling Stone song for a Beatle.
Oh, my God.
And that's
Wow.
what they did. And then, yeah, that was his one big fanboy moment. And I thought that was a great story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And apparently they got invited into his studio and get to listen to some of his music. And he finished listening to their session. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 It's wild, and it's weird how it's like it's a very like That's why I think it's kind of cool that it shows here is that it's very personal to you, because the way they treat Fabian is very casual. It's like if you get it, you get it. If you don't, that's fine. You see that it's important to them. Because I won't go into the details of this story, but when I was working at Best Buy for occasional seasonal for holidays a couple of years ago, and Lisa, you know the story.
Yes.
One of my favorite Australian directors walks in, and we're talking like this is one of my favorite action directors of all time, and made a connection, friended me on Facebook after that because he's friends with a lot of his fans on there to communicate with them. And I didn't know enough about televisions, about Sony TVs to sell him anything, but anyway, but just like that was like it took me a second and to realize, I'm like, oh my God, I think I know your work.
Yeah, kind of like
but
I love that.
But that's what I mean is like it meant something to me. Like all the people, I mean, the person I handed off the sale to didn't know. He just was like, oh, that's cool, you know. And then me on the inside, I'm like, oh my god, the director of Stunt Rock has been in the store that I worked at.
Oh man, that's so cool. That is so cool. That is so neat. Come on, that's so neat.
But anyway, so back on track to the episode.
Dragging us back to the episode.
Yeah. So I mean, but this is good because I mean we're talking about this thematically, and that I one of the things I love is we were talking about this passion and the energy of it, and man, that translates through the entire episode. There's not a single scene in this episode that doesn't have that crank to 11 sense of energy and like rhythm. Like everyone is working their asses off on this.
Yes, exactly. The way everybody's employed, like I said before, is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The way the boys are used as sauce is really, really fun. Like, the boys find Shirley outside of Pfister Arena, almost dead, frozen, and just, like, bring her in, and Squiggy gets to go, gangway, stiff broad! The boys' dialogue is perfect.
Careful, she'll snap!
Yeah. And the boys, meanwhile, have their own little side quest. They're trying to get tickets to a midget wrestling tag team match.
Mm-hmm.
So they finally get to go, and they end up getting backstage and end up getting to hang out with those wrestlers. So they get their own kind of like fanboy moment. So that's kind of fun.
Yep.
Get invited to a teeny luau, to quote them.
Right. Oh, that was wonderful. And I do love that line. The Belushi sisters. Oh, they're so shallow.
Yeah. That has to be a call, a little hint, a little hat tip to the Belushis, because Penny was definitely friends with them at that point.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm figuring. Yeah,
it's wonderful.
And just as you're saying, like these little bits, like even like when Shirley is all upset and Squeaky's trying to comfort her, and I find this so emblematic of his parentage. It's like there, shut up.
Yes. And the two of them just like shattering a lamp, trying to get blankets.
Right.
Yes.
Like, we didn't break that lamp. Didn't break that lamp that you used to have.
Yes. And then they got excited to go into the bedroom.
Bedroom.
Yep.
Perfect palm bite.
Perfect palm bite. We get several of these in this season. There's one coming up in the horse show. That's just like perfectly timed. Where he just slow motion bites his palm as he realizes he's in the girl's bedroom. That's really good.
Nice.
I love the line, "We saved your life," that tells us to see her naked.
Yes.
And then he immediately says, I'm joking.
Yeah. And the physical moment of him sliding off the arm of the couch to get away is just perfect. Just the flop, onto the floor. Oh, it's perfect. Love it.
Yep. Michael rolls off of several coffee tables and off of that arm of that couch so many times from like, I want to say around this season all the way through to season 6. he's always rolling off of the arm of that couch. And this is probably one of my favorite examples of him doing that.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, no, I loved it.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, God. And then I adore when you get to, as we're saying, going through the use of the characters, the way that Frank is used a bit in the Pizza Bowl, the 2 seats, okay. Yes. And then he gets the, oh, yeah. God. And
all Italian singers sing the same way.
Yep. And
that's his head.
I also I have this note about them being like 2 14-year-olds begging to pop, which is like it's cute. Like they're retaining this little bit of their youth. It's like please pop, please. Yeah. And I also, speaking of, I've mentioned these kind of nice little directorial touches that occasionally pop up in the show and the way in the post production where when Frank yells "cut it out" and you hear this, and then boom, you hear the sound of a strike coming from the bowling alley. And I love that little bit of timing. It's a little Foley touch that just adds a little polish on there. I love beautiful.
It. I just love that in that Pizza Bowl scene. There's absolutely no reason for Lenny to be there, and he's there. That's yet another example of that. We saw that in Honeymoon Hotel, and he's there. He's kind of there for a decent reason because he has to facilitate the bet, and that's exactly what he does. He's the one who comes up with the idea of the girls getting kissed on the cheek by Fabian, and that being the catalyst. Mm-hmm. But he mostly doesn't really need to be there, and yeah, he's a great addition to the scene.
Yep. And I love, and the other, it's funny, he's not really in the episode, but Carmine's used over the phone. And I love Laverne hanging up the phone and saying you can go back to your lesson, and you look at her face and you know exactly what the the in quotation marks, your lesson.
Lesson.
Yeah, which
widow number 453.
Ugh, God. But anyway, yeah, like just even like little details like that, exactly as you're saying, just the way they're used, and Lenny being there, I love, and of course as you mentioned, Lenny is super into. He's the oh God, you said this in the tag team wrestling episode about Lenny is the
wife guy without a wife.
Right. And I have my note here. It's like, he's just super into it. He's rooting for her. And it's like, if Laverne and Shirley was a fighting game, Lenny would always choose her as the main. That's a Street Fighter Tekken waifu,
Yep.
To use the nerd parlance of our times.
Yes. Laverne really is basically his waifu. She's kind of the perfect woman in a lot of ways to him.
Right, exactly.
He may lust after those like leggy blonde model types, but she is the perfect woman in every other respect.
And the thing is she's not the traditionally leggy, but she's got the gams. She's got gams.
Oh yeah. He's into it, as we establish as time goes on.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was
but
particularly.
He literally says in a few episodes that she's the prettiest, classiest woman he knows. And I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, that's okay. No, I also was starting to trail off a bit because I got a pain.
That's okay.
I'm gonna turn my freaking phone off. It's a pain in the ass right now.
Back on track.
But yeah, no, there's so much to love about the little moments there, and I love Rosie, even though that's a different hairstyle, isn't it? That's
yes, it is.
Yeah, the color seems a little different.
Yeah, she seems a little brassier hair-wise. The outfits even seem kind of different from the last time we saw her.
Mm-hmm.
She was very, very heavily involved in season 2. We see her a lot less in season 3, unfortunately.
Mm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
You can see the changes.
But
go ahead.
I was gonna say about Rosie. I love how casual she looks being in the Pizza Bowl. It's like she can't leave. She feels like she's married up. She's got the brass ring. She's going up. But it's like this is still part of who she is. And as much as she tries to be so hoity-toity, she is, and she loves to lord that over people. She's still from Knapp Street. She's still the Knapp Street girl.
Yeah, she's still a neighborhood girl. She still eats the Pizza Bowl. She still has Lenny monkeying around with her car.
Mm-hmm.
Which was dangerous. Because as he says, what I don't know about cars you can fit in a manual.
Oh, God, I love that.
Same. I love that they're trying to get set up on dates. Looking for dates for the midget wrestling match. And Squiggy went down the fish market to get them dates. Which is the most random thing I can think of. For them to try to get dates to go to this match. I also love that little bra snap. That had to have been a little impulsive, like dictation from the director or somebody, just to go whoop.
Yep. Just snap. Yep. Oh
Yep.
man.
In season 4, he does something similar where he takes a cold mug of beer and puts it on the back of Laverne's neck, and she spins around and goes, "Lenny!" And it's just great. Well, it makes a stupid sound. So it's like the two of them being little kids. It's just fun.
Gosh. So then that kind of moves us, I guess, directly in timeline-wise to the bet. And I, as we were saying, it's great that Lenny's there to kind of help provide the picture of them kissing him on the cheek.
Yep.
And I love the sync, that very Howard Hawksian thing where they're arguing and fighting and this and this and this, and then it's a bet and they shake hands.
Yes.
And it just reminds me because, you actually can hear, there's an interview sample with Howard Hawks where he talks about how he developed that style for like His Girl Friday. As a technique that became very common in a lot of his films. And there's many others that utilized it. I think Wilder used it a bit. And I love that touch. This is this is one of the episodes of season 3. And there's a few more that are before it and a few more that come after it that have that very like 30s to mid 50s era comedy sort of vibe, which I really adore. Like it was cool. It wasn't contemporary for cinematic comedy for the time, but it's, to me now, many decades later, it's timeless to me, and I adore it.
Same. Absolutely same. It's, God, everything about the way they set it up is perfect. I love Shirley deciding just to go. She sticks out her chest and she goes, "If you've got one." Rosie having a toothbrush, and that is so rare for her. She so rarely gets to have that kind of sass and fire in her belly when it comes to standing up to someone. And she just, is ready to finally eviscerate this woman after playing nice with her for basically a season. And basically the whole season. Basically all season 2, she's trying to be nice to Rose, because Rose is going to help her climb the ladder just like Rose did herself. But this time, she's done. She does not want to be nice to this woman anymore. She is going to kick her in the patootie for daring to suggest that her best friend lied. And it is fabulous. It's just fabulous. She finally has enough of Rosie kicking Laverne in the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
It's marvelous.
You're gonna win this best, and she's got the insidious plot, and what I think is interesting about Shirley coming up with this scheme, and we're starting to see, I notice in season 3, the development of Shirley, like the desperation with time. I think that it's like, okay, now I'm getting a little older now, and I'm reaching the point that I'm like in my 20s, and I'm not getting where I want to be in life, is making her start to do things a little more drastic. And as well as we've said about her being this control freak, she has to control the narrative. She has to build this narrative of, all right, we're going to do this plan that we're going to sneak in. We're going to do the hotel attendant outfits, and you're going to use French accents so that people don't question too much. And
Maurice Chevalier, Eiffel Tower.
Oh man!
My note on this plot twist is: what movie did Shirley get this scheme from? Yeah, I could picture her just seeing this during an afternoon matinee, or seeing it during an afternoon movie on TV. It's established that she watches those romance movies.
Mm-hmm.
She's going, hey, Paris, accents. I'll fall in love with him while I'm wearing a French maid's uniform. You can just see the wheels clicking in her head when it comes to certain things when it comes to this plot. All she wants is to win the bet, but maybe she's thinking about, I get to touch Fabian as well. So, while we're mentioning her drive, when Shirley finds out that Laverne lied to her, she basically goes right for the jugular. She almost stabs her right in the pizza bowl in front of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And wow! That is as angry as she has been in seasons. When they had a huge fight over that dude in the pact, she was not this angry. That is pure fury.
Mm-hmm.
That is pure fury.
That is crimes of passion are coming.
Yep. The way Cindy sells that is magnificent.
Oh, absolutely.
Utterly magnificent. She is just full-on Norman Bates psycho moment.
And that's what I wonder is, as we're saying, just the energy of these episodes. And this episode in particular, I wonder how much of this was, being developed through the rehearsal process and seeing how people's energy was going up, and then trying to match it, and just trying to go higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
So
you can see how they might have blocked it off, how they might have rehearsed it, how they might have positioned and repositioned themselves, trying to figure out what works best. But that was a nice little bit of intensity that really sells the
definitely
stakes that we're dealing with here.
Also, so as we're moving into now the major set piece at the hotel, those outfits, I mean, I adore them for obvious reasons. But my God, they are silly. And
yeah. They're very almost the kind of thing you would buy at Frederick's of Hollywood to entice your straying husband. Aren't they? More leg, more nylons.
Are you married to Ed O'Brien? Is he thinking about possibly dating Ida Lupino? Then come to Fredericks of Hollywood and get yourself a monogrammed L on it, French-made hotel attendant outfit. Comes with a special French accent instruction guide.
Teenage maids spelled 9 months of cleaning the beds.
Oh boy. Oh God, but yeah, no, the outfits were cute. I love Laverne's leg kicks. I mean, the whap whap whap. It's like so exaggerated. Like it's like, look at my stockings, look at my stockings, look at my stockings.
I love how they approach this. We'll meet Fabian, then we'll get arrested.
Yes.
I mean, it's the only thing they can do at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They are not going to scrub those floors with that toothbrush.
Mm-hmm.
If they can stop the world, they will do it. They are going to meet this goal.
Yep.
I love the physical comedy implied during the window ledge stunts.
Oh my gosh.
This is another one of the very early examples of them doing physical comedy, doing stunt work themselves, and literally like almost hanging out in the middle of the air. And there's crash pads underneath them, but from the way they film it, it's perfect. It's just perfect. It's beautifully done. Beautifully done. Top 10.
And that'll be
top 10.
I was just going to quickly say that crash pads are not. There's times when Penny's hanging off the thing at certain angles that crash pads are not going to take care of all the damage.
Yeah.
That it's not going to mitigate everything.
Yeah.
There are some angles you can still fall into those things and get hurt. So, I mean, it's still risky and it's still gutsy, and just kudos that they went for it and they pulled it off and they're okay.
The most amazing thing about the show is no one got seriously injured while they were filming it. And if you consider the physicality of it, if you consider the stunts they did, the fact that they did not employ stunt people, it's almost mind-boggling that nobody got really seriously injured.
Agreed.
I think I told the story that the most serious injury that happened in the season 8 episode.
Yeah, you did.
Did I tell that on there? Yeah, I did. Okay. So I won't bother to do it again. Okay. But yeah. It's an amazingly physical show, and it is incredibly impressive that everyone came out of it fully intact. And they really did. They thrived. And geez, can you imagine doing half of what they had to do?
I honestly can't. I mean, admittedly, I'm a bit of a big dude, but even then, there's certain, because of some health issues from when I was born, I have some flexibility problems with my hips. So, yeah, there's some of that balancing and grappling that's just like, oh boy.
I don't know how they made it sometimes. Sometimes I really don't know how they made it. When we get to season 4, and you get to see some of the things they did, your jaw is going to be on the floor.
Nice.
That's what I'm going to say.
I'm
jaw
excited.
Will probably be on your knees.
So before we get too far into the hotel stuff, I did have 2 comments for the 2 actors, the bit players here. Ken Lerner as the assistant, Pete.
Yes.
So interesting thing is, Ken Lerner, he has an interesting history. Yes, he was here. He was in Happy Days as Rocco Baruffi and Malachi. Either Rocco, I guess he was him.
Oh yeah, one of the Machi brothers.
So he's still working today.
Oh, really?
That new series, it's a new series, a new crime series called Gravesend, or Gravesend, just showed up recently. I think you can watch it on Prime, I think is what I was seeing on IMDb.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like he's on that. I didn't see him in the trailer, but he gets kind of high-ish billing. 90s nerds may remember him as Principal Flutie on the first season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He's also another of those actors that when you look at his photos through the years, he looks completely different, all these different ages in his life, which is, I find, terribly amusing.
That's so cool.
The other one is the bellboy, the guy who comes in with a little tune and the punchline of, "Oh, excuse me, I see you, and you're both going to be arrested." So that is Fred Fox Jr., who wrote "Excuse Me, May I Cut in addition to 29 episodes of Happy Days. And and then also wrote 38 episodes of, or has writing credit on 38 episodes of Family Matters, which is another. There's another Laverne and Shirley alum connection, but we'll get to that in another episode. And he also, I think I mentioned this on the Excuse Me, May I Cut In episode. He also was the creator of My Secret Identity, which was Jerry O'Connell's big break in the 80s.
Oh, that's really neat. That is cool. I had no idea that was him. That is so cool.
It's one of those things that if you don't pay attention to the credits, then you miss this kind of stuff. So that was a cool little discovery.
There's something hilarious about the girls fangirling hard over Fabian, and we're supposed to pretend it's the 1950s, and he's 20-ish, and he is clearly 40 here.
Yeah. I remember you mentioning that when we were getting ready to watch it's 70s Fabian, it's not 50s Fabian. Yeah. And he's so clearly lounge lizard Vegas-y Fabian. And it's so funny to me for some reason, because we're supposed to see him as this young Ricky Nelson-ish, handsome. No, he's still handsome. He's still handsome as an older man, I'm going to say that. But we're supposed to see him as this younger dude, and he's just standing there, his 40-ish self. And the dichotomy is just hilarious. Really, really think about it. Yeah. I love, like I said before, their intense fangirling is so fabulous. It's just so fabulous. I think every single person who has ever had a thing for a celebrity has had those feelings. They have not gone that far and acted them out that way, but they've had those feelings. Right.
So,
no, I suspect the same. You know, it's definitely, there's a feeling. On the note of the fangirling, I love when he says, "All right, so all right, get on the bed," and Laverne goes all the way up to the pillows, and it's like hello, and so baudy.
That's my girl.
And and I love his reaction to it as well. It's like and he rolls his finger at her like, "Come on back over." Oh, it was great. And I love the whole, like, "Are you coming to my concert?" And they're bawling and babbling, and the tickets, they were sold out, and then I love how they're bawling until like two little kids getting the lollipop. It's like, whoop, there's the backstage passes, and boop, everything's okay. That was good.
That's right. It was such a nice little capper. They deserve it.
They did.
They deserve it after everything they've been through. They deserve it.
Yeah, it's nice they didn't get the fuzzy end of the lollipop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Laverne tried to slip him her number. Of course. That's pure her. Just pure her.
So then does that get us then into the tag scene? Because there's
the incredible tag scene, which I love.
Yes. I have a note about you go ahead and you cover the tag scene because I know you had strong, passionate feelings about this.
The boys and the girls are playing Monopoly together. Do you know how much money I would pay for an entire episode of the four of them playing Monopoly together?
Mm-hmm.
So much, because it would be hilarious. It would be so funny.
And I love the detail that Shirley is doing the moves for Squiggy because I think he has trouble counting. So she's saying you count the moves. 1, 2, 3, 4. And she's moving his piece for him. That is adorable and hilarious and silly. And I love it.
It's sweet, yeah. And you can see the way they're all paying attention to each other's stories. The girls paying attention to the Midget Luau story, even though Shirley doesn't want Laverne to encourage them.
Mm-hmm.
But she wants to know all those details.
Yeah.
And Lenny being super amused that Laverne slipped Fabian her number.
Mm-hmm.
And the four of them all being very into this game, and then the ultimate revelation that Rosie is in the bathroom scrubbing everything with her toothbrush.
Oh
It's
God!
perfect.
And I love she's still wearing the same outfit
Yeah.
that she had
Yeah.
at the pizza.
Yeah. I was gonna say that is the best made outfit ever.
Yes.
With her little silver stars and her black top. I just love her.
God. And I also noticed, I had to double check this. There's a crane shot as the camera moves back at the end of the episode. And
Yeah, it is.
you never see crane shots in this show. So that was really cool. That made me feel, it was like, whoa, art.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no, Heaven's Gate or Barry Lyndon or anything, but hey, it's something.
I'm pretty sure this is the last we see of Rosie until the episode Whatever Happened to Class 56. Pretty sure.
Oh no!
Pretty sure this
oh
is the
no!
end of
Oh
it for a
Rosie!
while.
Oh no! Future me for the
Yeah.
YouTube version. Can you put a picture of "We'll see you later," Rosie Greenbaum? Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Future Chris, please do that.
Okay.
But salute to Carol Ida White for being amazing. Salute to Rosie for being a great antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite foil ever for Laverne. My favorite side character in this entire show. So yeah. I think that is indeed the last of Rosie.
Bummer.
Until the series moves to season 7, and then we do the high school class reunion episode. So,
Interesting. Wow.
you'll get there eventually.
But anyways, I guess. But yeah, I guess that kind of wraps up sort of at least my main notes for this episode.
Yes.
Oh wait, I did have. Oh no, I covered both the actors Ken Lerner and Fred Fox Jr. No, we're
Yes,
good. We're good. We're good. I could go into Fabian's career, but it's not as interesting, to me anyway. It does. It doesn't get me adjacent to movie references. So I have a lane, people. I have a lane.
Yay. I was gonna say, I wonder what the heck Fabian ended up doing.
Okay, two shakes. I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
I'm pretty sure he did Vegas. for a
Nope,
while
it does
there.
not look like he. Well, I mean, as a performer, probably, but yeah, let's say for television,
Yeah.
he just kind of did bits here and there.
Yeah.
He was on Fantasy Island in 1980.
Yes. Almost everybody was on Fantasy Island and or the Love Boat, kids. Look her up.
It was on Love American Style as well in 73. Oh boy. Oh god, he was in Devil's 8. I think I've seen that. Hang on. Yep, I think I've seen this. Or I have it in my collection somewhere. Yep. Anyway, but yeah, so I think that kind of covers the majority of this episode, but I'm just trying to think. I'm going to go back through if there was anything else. I did want to mention one thing in terms of, quality stuff. And it's a sweet note to end on. I really enjoyed when they come back down and they finally get themselves off from hanging from certain doom. And it's the I love you when they get Laverne down. That was very, I liked how real that was because it helped give some weight to the stunt, even though it's obviously on a soundstage, and it gave some weight to the moment as well.
Yeah. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
Those girls love one another.
Yeah.
At one point in season 5, there is an episode where Laverne thinks Shirley has died. That's also going to happen at Shirley's operation. We'll get there soon. And Laverne goes on the warpath. She goes on the warpath. She goes on a roaring rampage of revenge. You do not mess with her girl.
Wow.
You do not mess with her girl. Oh, yeah. It's great. It's great. I'll get there.
Yeah. Anywho, I guess, so we're up to ranking this, yeah?
Yes, we are. For me, this is a solid 9. This is like a 9.8. This is very close to a 10. Actually, no, I might as well just go with a 10 for this one. I really can't think of any flaws it has. I think that every little bit of it works. Everything everybody is given to do flows to the whole heart of the episode. The boys are used perfectly as season here. Rosie is a wonderful antagonist. This is how to do a guest star episode correctly. This is how to weave a celebrity into your TV show in a way that's not obtrusive. There are plenty of better examples of this trope. Like The Simpsons did it very well, like before a car crashed off the edge of the cliff. There's a lot of different ways you can do this, but for a show like Laverne and Shirley, this is a pretty decent way to weave a celebrity into your episode. There was an awful example coming, I think, in season 7. I'm going to check really quickly, because I am almost 100% sure that it is season 7. Yes, it is season 7, where they introduce a celebrity, it absolutely doesn't work, and it's not funny at all. But the celebrity is supposed to be seen as the moral center of reason of this gang of friends who have known one another forever. And it just flatlines. It's like fanfic written by this actor for this episode. It's not good.
Ugh.
We'll get there eventually. I'll tell you the name of the celebrity once we get off pod.
Okay.
In between episodes. But it doesn't work. And this one does. Because it knows how to use Fabian. And it knows how to play into his strengths as an actor. So.
I hear you.
That's my ranking. It's a solid 10.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 9. The only couple of weaknesses, I mean, these are nitpicks mostly, is that the older Fabian does kind of lessen it for me. Although I agree, it also wouldn't be the same without him. He clearly understands dealing with fans, and it plays off very naturally the way an actor would have a lot of difficulty mimicking. Fred Fox being a bit anachronistic in his body language and his hair took me out of things a little bit, and his mustache.
Oh, yeah, he is
that mustache. Hey, future me, can you bleep that? Thank you.
Effing!
Yeah, like those little, there was very little nitpicky things. But that said, I mean, I agree. Like, there are so many delights through this episode. There's so many parts I laughed, I smiled constantly. I mean, it was so enjoyable throughout. So it was very fun and very there was a lot to like about it. So yeah, no, it's I have to say, like, of this season, this is definitely, when you combine all the different factors together, it's one of my favorites of the season so far. Yeah.
Understandably, it's a really, really nice episode. I think that's it for us this week.
I think it is. Wow, that was a little longer than I expected, but
yeah.
But hey, you know, it's we had a lot of feels to get out here. Anyway, thank you again, everyone, so much for joining us for Night After Night. And if you'd like to know more, please join us on social media. We can be found at Night After Night Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, and WordPress. We also can be found at Night After Night PC. And if you would like to leave us a direct line, nightafterNightPod@gmail.com, you can send us direct comments or questions or any sort of things like that. And then as well, there's a Patreon as well if you would like to kick us a little bit of support, and we would always appreciate that. And we hope that you all have a wonderful day, and thank you again for joining us. Now, I'm looking at my list here. I think did we cover a stakeout episode before, Lisa? Why does it say we have a stakeout next week?
Because the FBI descend upon Knapp Street. 2 agents use the girls' department to spy on their next-door neighbor. It turns out that he might have a connection to Carmine. So the girls are stuck between trying to help the law and trying to help Shirley's man in the stakeout.
Excellent. Well, we'll be sure to figure out what that's all going to be like. We hope you will join us too. Sounds like it's going to be a good one. And my gosh, are they going to finally figure out whether to make Carmine a gangster or not?
God, that's going to take episodes and episodes and episodes. It doesn't happen until around season 5. But it's little hints and little wood probes until then.
I was making a facetious joke. I wasn't actually expecting an answer.
I'm telling you, there's an entire episode where he works for a collector.
Oh,
it's coming.
Snap. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I might actually have to pay attention to this man.
See, you hate him less as the show goes on.
All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. I hope you join us for next time.
Yes. Join us next week.